本期视频是对北京语言大学的德国留学生梅丽娜的访谈节选。她谈到了为什么要来中国，在北京留学生活的细节，以及对中国教育、文化、饮食等方面的个人感受。我们来看看她是怎么说的吧。
Yeah, as you said, I'm Melina. I've been living in China on and off for 3.5 years, and have been learning Chinese for quite some years. So it's getting better, but there's still room to improve.
Yeah, actually.
And I'm also doing social media in China. So basically, I produce videos and upload it here.
Oh, wow.
And I'm about to establish my own company, which is a little bit of a pain, but nothing is easy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What made you to come to study in Chinese, and how did you choose your university?
Yeah, so it's a bit complicated. When I was younger, I actually had a lot of difficulties learning foreign languages, also English. So my English wasn't very good. And then I moved for 1 year abroad. So I attended high school in Malaysia. And Malaysia has the normal Malays. They also have Indians, and they also have people from Chinese origin. And there I stood with the host family. One of them was of Chinese descent, and that's how I got into like my first Chinese experience, eating Chinese food. And then later on, when I was studying at university, I thought, maybe it's like would be nice to check out how China is.
Oh, wow.
So I went to Qingdao, and then I liked it. And after I graduated, I came back to China. And I chose this university because it's very it's quite well known for learning languages. And
Languages. Oh.
I mean, Beijing it's a big city. So it's not the cheapest, but it's a good city to learn Chinese, as they speak like very clean Putonghua, like very standard Mandarin. So yeah, that's why I'm here.
Can you share with us some of your experiences as an international student in China, and any challenges, and also any funny stories, because we want to hear that, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's also one of the pros when you come here, right? You're not only going to meet Chinese students, but like students from all over the world. I think there's a few Europeans. I think there's quite a lot of people, not a lot, but a few people from Africa, because China likes to give scholarships to like get people here, and then you go back and then facilitates trade, right?
Yeah.
So in my building, we have, for example, we have a lot of like Vietnamese, Thai, from Kenya, from India, me from Germany. So what a difficult in communication there are, for sure.
Really? So so those in your dorm, do they speak the Chinese? How do you communicate?
That's a good question. Actually, the Southeast Asians, so the Thai and the Vietnamese, most of the time we speak in Chinese, as they're also PhD students. So they study Chinese for already 5 or 6 years permanently, and have been teaching back home Chinese. So their Chinese is often better than their English. But other than that, I speak most of the time English with the other foreign students. Yeah. Which is a bit a pity, because if you want to learn Chinese and you speak all the time in English,
Oh yeah, actually, that is true.
not improving that quick.
So how will you describe the academic environment in China, and what are the differences between the education system in China and also in Germany?
Yeah. The education system, I think, first of all, I need to say in this university, all our teachers that teach us Chinese are very good teachers, all of them, because they know there's very young people. They're only 18 years old. They come here, they're for the first time alone. So our teachers are not like, oh, you need to do this. They're like, well, oh, you haven't done your homework. You could still give me tomorrow or the day after tomorrow.
Oh,
so
wow.
they're very nice. They just want to like tell us like, it's okay, take your pace. And there's like 加油 when you learn Chinese. That means like keep on going and don't give up. So I think that's a very good point.
Oh, wow.
But then at the same time, I think sometimes I've been studying in Qingdao before, and I think younger teachers, they have more interactive lessons.
Okay.
Whereas older teachers is like standing in front of class, and it's not very interactive, so it's kind of boring. That's what I have felt. In Germany, we have a lot of interactive lessons. We have a lot of group work, or the teacher asks us questions. And I think that's actually the biggest difference, is that, for example, in China, if your teacher tells you something, you can't criticize them. Like, you can't say, I have a different opinion. In Germany, we can criticize our teachers all the time. I mean, anytime.
Yeah, I think Africa too.
Yeah, in a friendly way, right?
Actually.
Yeah, but you can say like, oh, I've read this or that in a newspaper, I've watched this film. And then you would tell your professor back home in Germany, like, oh, it's this and that. And actually the professor is not angry, but they're actually happy to learn also something new from you. So I think there's more like, yeah, like it doesn't really matter if you're a student and he or she is higher up than you, but here should be careful like how you criticize people. It has happened once to me that I criticized a Chinese teacher when I came the first time to China. And in that test, I got a really bad mark. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't the content that I wrote down. In the
That's
test.
so sad, but that's just by the way, you know. Yeah, actually, you spoke of you talk about if when even your test when the deadline is even over, your teacher would actually give you the opportunity to do it again.
Yeah.
But in my country, there's nothing like that, man, because they won't allow you to do it again. Because when the deadline is over, it's over. There's nothing.
I think it depends on the program, right? You are doing masters. Yeah, I think it's different for that because I'm doing it just a 1-year language course. Okay. So it's not a degree course. We're just receiving marks for, you know, like it's just here to learning. We're just here to learning the language. So that's why they're probably a little more easygoing. I know that if you have a scholarship and you don't meet the requirements, you fail the exams, then you will the scholarship will be taken away.
That one is true.
Yeah. It's different, yeah. Different programs, different rules.
So, being in China so far, what has been the most surprising aspect of Chinese culture?
Yeah, there's a lot of rules, but you can always work around the rules. So, for example, sometimes, and I think back home we always ask for, oh, can I do this or can I not do this? And Germans are like relatively relaxed with a lot of things, whereas in China, people are also relaxed. But if you ask specifically, for example, in school, oh, can we attend this project? Or I'm having an outside event of school, but I have lessons. Okay. You know, sometimes it's just good to tell your class teacher, because if you go to the main office and tell them, then they're like, no, you can't go. But your class teacher will be like, yeah, it's fine. And then if it's a proper event and you come back and then you tell them, well, yesterday I wasn't in class because I was attending this like interview seminar, then they're okay with it. But sometimes it's always difficult to like figure out like the rules, because every country has a different system on how to do things, right? And sometimes you're like, maybe, it's difficult to explain.
All right, so since you came to China, where have you visited, like the places that you have been to?
I've been to a lot of places.
A lot of places?
Yeah.
Then we want to hear from you.
Yeah.
Which places have you been to and how fun was it?
I've been, for example, twice to Yunnan province. For example, my Chinese friend has invited me to spend Chinese New Year there with her family this year. So that was quite interesting because they have a lot of like minority ethnic groups. And so in the south of China, it's a very beautiful province as well. Then I've been to Gansu. That is a province in the northwest. Gansu, province.
Is it Jiangsu or Gansu?
Not Jiangsu. Jiangsu is Shanghai, next to Shanghai, right? And Gansu is next to, it's over Qinghai province.
Oh wow, I've never heard of this province before.
Yeah.
I have to go and
It's a lot of desert there. There's a lot of desert, different types of deserts. That's
Gansu, Jiangsu, wow.
Yeah.
Su.
Yeah.
All right. So which of these cities is your favorite?
I think it's Dali in Yunnan province. Beautiful city, has very old Chinese architecture, beautiful landscape, a lake. I've also recently been in Jiangsu, in Suzhou, which was also really beautiful. There's so many different beautiful places. As the country is so big, so
actually,
of course, there's a lot of like mountains and deserts and rivers and seaside and
yeah. So how has studying in China influenced your career goals or personal growth? Like come to China, how?
I think when I was younger, I thought, oh, I'm going to do this and this and this, like studying and then, finding a stable job and then buying a house and having family like everyone else, right? But I studied back home. I studied and worked at the same time. And after that, I realized after my bachelor's, it's not exactly what I want to do. So I lived 1.5 years later on in Taiwan. Then I moved to Beijing, lived here another more year. Then I went to a film school. So I studied a lot of Chinese, but never as a degree program. Film school, and now I'm doing social media full time.
Wow.
That's really weird, but I mean, it sounds really cool, but it's a lot of work. And it's very difficult sometimes when you don't have that path that everybody has and you don't have a role model because you have to figure out everything by yourself. So it's difficult to say what I'm going to do in a few years.
All right, so tell us about your love life.
My love life.
Just a brief, something small.
Yeah.
My audience wants to hear something from you. So
Yeah, I think I've talked here with a lot of people. Like, would they be willing to date someone from a different culture? I think most Germans would be. I'm also willing to do that. Is it more difficult to be together with someone from like a different culture? Yes, it is. I think the divorce rate is like 60%
60%, yeah.
like between international couples.
okay.
So there needs to be a lot of like communication key to any relationship. So I've been dating a couple of I've been going out with some Chinese, like meeting them for eating something, or like going for a hike or whatever other things, and some Europeans as well. So yeah, but I think it's not easy to find someone who has.
Is there something that you want to say, but you're not trying to bring it out?
Yeah, because it's a little bit private, right?
Right. So okay, let me ask this question: are you marrying someone who's a Chinese or someone who is an European?
I think so. The preference would be someone who can live in Europe and in China, and for that it either needs to be a Chinese person who then is willing to learn English or German, who has probably studied over there, or someone from Europe who's willing to live in China. I mean, it could be also a foreigner, but if the person can't find a job in your country, and I want to live at some point again in Europe and in Germany, hopefully, then it's really difficult to marry that person, because it's not easy to move somewhere else, get a work permit, and yeah.
So can you tell us about how safe you are in China? Safety in China. So has any Chinese or anyone in China harassed you before?
I think there's in every society there is harassment, right? Like sexual harassment. I've experienced that in almost every country that I lived before. I lived in France, for example, in Germany and China, and I've gone twice to police already. But
Wow.
I mean, sometimes, like, I think in Germany as well as in China, you can walk out, like outside in the evening. You can walk around. You have to like take a bit care in what area, but usually I think both countries are safe.
Okay.
Also in terms of like traveling, I've traveled a lot alone in Europe and in China, and I think it's both okay. Would I camp somewhere alone in Europe in the forest? No. Would I camp somewhere alone in the forest in China? No.
Okay. All right. So I think we have talked a lot, but I think I have to end the conversation by asking, what advice will you give to someone who is coming to study in China?
I think best is to find someone back home who has been to China or is in China. So ask all your contacts, hey, can you get me in contact with this person? Because you need to download certain apps before you go to China. For example, like some dictionary apps, some other stuff. You need to get some documentation or like some paperwork done. So I think it's really good to have someone who can help you with that. And I can also consult you. If you don't know someone, it's a great way is to go to LinkedIn, write some people, introduce yourself. If it's your own company, I think it creates more trust. So I've done this on LinkedIn. I've written some people, not specific for China, but for a job. Hey, I would like to do a similar job with like you. Can you give me some advice? Could we set up a phone call? And most people are actually quite nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Although I said this is our last question, but I left something out about Chinese cuisine.
Yeah, Chinese cuisine.
I don't know. You haven't told us anything about it yet, but what foods can you recommend, or what are some of the food that you've had that you think that this food is quite good or not, or it's quite bad?
Yeah. Oh my God, I've eaten a lot of Chinese food within 3.5 years, and sometimes I don't know what it's called or I've forgotten it.
Oh, their names, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've once eaten a fish soup in Guizhou province, outstandingly good. Beijing kaoya, I mean, Beijing duck is really good.
Nice.
Then, for example, xiaolongbao is like a dumpling, but it has soup inside and it's very small. It has different flavors. That's also really good.
Oh, okay.
Things that I don't like so much, very spicy food, is just that it hurts. There's no taste anymore.
Okay.
And I think also with some, for example, chicken feet, for example, I eat it out of respect, but I don't really like to eat it. But I think most of the things, sometimes Chinese cuisine is overseas broadcast is like, oh my god, they eat so many scary things. But
yeah,
I mean, they don't. I mean, you can find these, but if you go to a normal restaurant, you get normal stuff.
I went to a Chinese restaurant and ate scorpion.
Scorpion. Yeah, I wouldn't touch that because of wild animal. I don't know how much testing they do on these things back home.
I only bite it. I didn't actually swallow it. I was afraid then.
Yeah.
So it was so scary, man. So scary.
I only eat domesticated animals.
So scary now. All right, so I think we'll end here. Thank you for honoring my invitation. Yeah, actually. So I'm sure we'll be working together next time.